Every day, your body performs a quiet miracle. It turns sunlight into a nutrient that controls your bones, muscles, immune system, even your mood. But did you know there is a food that can do something eerily similar? And almost no one uses it that way. Vitamin D doesn't magically appear in food. It's made through light. And mushrooms are one of the only foods on earth that can do this. But whether you need to do anything about it depends on something most people never explain. Hello, welcome back to Vital Cook. It's the winter's here now and we hardly see the sun. And vitamin D deficiency isn't rare, it's real. Even if you eat well, even if you go out in the sun a lot, still it exists. But today we're not talking about the sun, we're talking about the mushrooms. Because these are the only vegetables that can make vitamin D. In this video, we will look into how and why mushrooms are different. Vitamin D is called the sunshine vitamin, but modern life blocks that relationship. Latitude, sunscreen, clothing, indoor working. So we end up supplementing it or ignoring it. But there's a third option, one that lives quietly in your produce drawer. And while we talk a lot about supplements, we rarely talk about how vitamin D actually enters food. Mushrooms aren't plants, they are fungi, and fungi contain ergosterol, a molecule that behaves like cholesterol in human skin. When ultraviolet light hits ergosterol, it converts it to vitamin D2, the same photochemical reaction your skin uses. Most mushrooms are grown in the dark. No UV light, no conversion. Vitamin D is produced, it's not inherent. Here's the remarkable part. Expose mushrooms to sunlight and they start behaving like skin. UV light doesn't penetrate deeply. More surface area equal to more vitamin D. When mushrooms are exposed to UV light, sunlight or artificial, ergosterol converts into vitamin D2. That's it, that's the mechanism. Studies show vitamin D levels can rise dramatically, sometimes rivaling animal sources. But that's not the whole story. In many places on Earth, the sun doesn't make vitamin D for months. Places above roughly 37 to 42 degrees north latitude like Canada, Scandinavia or the UK get so little UVB in winter that your skin cannot produce meaningful vitamin D for weeks or even months. That's why even people who go outside regularly still have low vitamin D in winter. So what about the mushroom? If the sunlight is too weak, like deep winter in high latitudes, mushrooms won't generate much vitamin D on their own, even if you try to sun expose them. But scientists have shown that UV-treated mushrooms still produce significant vitamin D2, and that this D2 is bioavailable and increases blood levels just like vitamin D from supplements. So if daylight isn't powerful, use mushrooms that have been UV treated, whether by sunlight in summer or by UV lamps before cooking. When winter sun is available at midday, even short periods can bump D2 in mushrooms, but the effect drops off quickly if the UV index is low. Combine mushrooms with other vitamin D sources, fortified foods, fatty fish, egg yolks, to make a practical winter strategy. In deep winter, supplements, especially those matched to your needs, are a practical safety net when sun and dietary resources aren't enough. So yes, in long, low sun winters, natural sun exposure might be limited. But with UV-treated mushrooms, smart pairing and good food choices, you can still make vitamin D from food work for you. Vitamin D is fat-soluble. Without fat, it passes through your body unused. Fat triggers bile, bile forms micelles, micelles carry vitamin D into your bloodstream. Like many other vitamins, vitamin D is also fat-soluble. So cook your mushrooms. Saute it lightly in some olive oil. Combine it with some nuts or eat it with your eggs so that your body can absorb more of that vitamin D. Once mushrooms make vitamin D, it doesn't vanish overnight. Studies show vitamin D2 in UV-exposed mushrooms stays stable for days and even months, when stored cool and away from light. Cooking doesn't destroy it, but the method matters. Stir frying retains the highest. In summary, to keep the most vitamin D2, slice mushrooms before UV exposure, store them cool and dark, cook them briefly and eat them with fat. The vitamin D made by mushrooms is called D2, and understanding how it compares to D3 is where most of the confusion begins. This is where the D2 versus D3 debate usually shows up. So let's clear it up chemically and biologically. Vitamin D2 and D3 are almost identical molecules, but not quite. Vitamin D2 has an extra double bond and a slightly longer side chain. Vitamin D3 doesn't. That small structural difference changes how your body handles it. Vitamin D2 still works, but it's cleared a bit faster. D3 binds more tightly to transport proteins and lasts longer in the bloodstream. That's why D3 is often considered more potent. But D2 from mushrooms is still biologically active and usable. And mushrooms remain one of the only non-animal foods that can produce vitamin D at all. So D3 is more potent per unit. But mushroom solves a different problem. It's the only plant-based food that gives you vitamin D. So remember, mushrooms do not contain vitamin D on its own, but with sunlight, it can maximize it for you. If this gave you something new about your everyday mushrooms, hit that like and share it with others who can also benefit from a boost of vitamin D.